Alberta's government is working to create a business environment that attracts new investments from around the world, and while also making sure that Alberta-based entrepreneurs, innovators, and visionaries can see a future in our province. That's why I'm thrilled to be part of today's announcement. In partnership with the federal government, I'm pleased that we could support Phyto Organix and their new facility here in Strathmore through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership. In April, we helped announce two multi-million-dollar processing facilities from out of province that selected Alberta as their new home. And just last week, we welcomed a snack foods company from Eastern Canada to Airdrie. But to see an Alberta-based company staying at home and investing in our province, supporting local producers, creating hundreds of jobs for new Albertans, and helping reignite our economy, well, if you ask me, that's about as exciting and as Albertan as it gets. And with demand for high-quality plant-based products increasing dramatically in recent years across the globe, we will continue to support companies like Phyto Organix and others to help diversify Alberta's agri-processing industry. That's why, as part of Alberta's recovery plan, our agri-food sector investment and growth strategy set aggressive targets to build on our strengths and make the most of the growth opportunities in new and emerging industries like plant protein. Our goal is to attract $1.4 billion in new investment and create 2,000 new jobs by March of 2023. And we're now another step closer to those goals. So thanks again to Phyto Organix and the town of Strathmore for hosting today's events. I look forward to see the new progress on the new facility. Thank you very much, and I know the farmers in the area will be very excited too.
Welcome to the press conference for what I think is one of the most exciting days in the town of Strathmore's history. Never before have we had an investment like this in our community. And the scale of this investment is truly impressive because we've heard about their commitment to sustainability, safety, and community, and I know they'll be a perfect fit in our community. Rural Alberta is one of the most important parts of Canada's prosperity, and over the past few weeks, over 800,000 acres of cropland has been seeded across Wheatland County. I'd like to thank my fellow councillors who are here today, Councillor Debbie Mitzner and Councillor Melissa Langmaid, as well as WID board members Dan Shute and Ray Kattenbach. Great to see you guys again, and again, thank you to the dignitaries who are here, our MP, our minister, and MLA here. You've always been you and Martin have always been so impressive as far as how you support Strathmore and area, and we really appreciate that. We think that this will be a great opportunity to provide local jobs for local youth, adults, young adults. And by pairing these opportunities with Phyto Organix, we know we can provide an exceptional quality of life for Strathmore, Wheatland County residents, as well as Siksika. Agriculture is the center of innovation, and on our strategic planning, Strathmore's new town council came up with 6 areas that we want to focus on, and we want to move and work toward agriculture into the future, and Phyto Organix is going to be a great part of it. And I apologize, I did not see Deputy Mayor Montgomery here, so thank you for being here. And Councillor Peterson, you guys are all over the place. Thank you. Organizations like the Western Irrigation District continue to show how innovation with new investments in irrigation can do a great deal to help agriculture into the future, and we think Phyto Organix will be a huge part of that as well. Town of Strathmore is really fortunate with this project because we think it'll support our town residents with jobs and income, but it'll also support the farmers in Wheatland County as well as the farmers on Siksika Nation because they can begin to start growing yellow peas for this plant. And we know that Siksika and Wheatland County are good neighbors to us. We want to look after them and be there for each other. We've been together through these difficult times in the past 2 years, and we're thrilled that this will help them. I want to take a little moment to thank the town staff through all the departments who have worked so hard to get this project to fruition. And Kevin Scoble, our new CAO, started on January 10th, and on his lap was dropped this huge project of getting the Phyto Organix company to be able to move here and set up. We think that the town of Strathmore staff has the expertise and tools to help this project really take off. Last thing I wanted to say is that this company, again, is a sustainable, community-minded corporation. We think it'll be awesome for Strathmore and area. We welcome them, and I send greetings on behalf of Chief Crowfoot as well. They're having a council meeting right now, so he could not make it. But in our meeting yesterday, he was gracious to come in after being in England for a while and on Victoria Day. So he was very excited about the project and sends his greetings. So thank you all for being here. This is a great day for Strathmore. It's a great day for Wheatland County and Siksika Nation as well.
This is an historic day. And what we're doing in Alberta is adding value to what has traditionally been the legacy of exporting raw materials. With our announcement today, we're going to invest $225 million in this community to build a state-of-the-art net zero wet fractionation facility right here in Strathmore. And we'll source our peas from regional farmers. And I think that's very exciting for the broader community. This investment marks the largest capital investment in the history of Strathmore. And it has an ESG pedigree that is distinct from any other fractionation facility in North America. We've evaluated and integrated investments related to emissions and water reuse all the way through the value chain of this business. And we will set the industry benchmark for net zero emissions and for recycling water. And we'll reuse over 75% of our fresh water. And that is distinctly unique from what's happening in the 3 other wet fractionation facilities in North America. Our net zero plant will produce just over 9,000 metric tons a year of protein isolate. It's a best-in-class protein that's used in meat and dairy alternative applications. We'll also produce another 27,000 metric tons of fiber and starch, which combined will add $120 million to Alberta's GDP. During the construction phase of this 100,000 square foot facility, we'll employ about 300 contractors here in the town. When we're operational, we'll have a total of 80 staff, 60 of which will be working right here in Strathmore, and we'll add $7 million of direct employment income here in the town. The investment represents the first step for us to building a foundation for a value-added agribusiness and innovation hub here in Strathmore. For Phyto Organix, it's really phase 1 of building a $1 billion sustainable plant protein company in Alberta. We'll have a really positive impact on regional farmers. When we looked at Strathmore, there are a number of attributes of why we wanted to be here, and certainly the feedstock supply was one of them. Within 75 kilometers of Strathmore, there's annually grown about 200,000 metric tons of yellow pea. That's 5 times the capacity of this facility. If we range out to 10 kilometers, there's 10 times our capacity. And it's very much about low freight costs, and it's also low GHG on truck when we're moving feedstock from farm to the facility. It's also a new relationship for farmers. They really have no identity with the food chain. And when you think about the current market of what we are, farmers grow yellow peas, we harvest, they go to a grain elevator, they get on a train, they get on a boat, and they go to China and Bangladesh. That's 95% of the yellow pea market in Alberta. We're going to change that. When we take delivery of peas from a local farm, we'll process those peas, and we can go back to that farmer and say, we just processed that batch of your peas, and they're off to the West Coast to be in a dairy alternative drink. And that's really ownership of the value chain for farmers. The second piece of that connection that we'll make is on sustainability. And Canada is a leading country when it comes to sustainability in energy and in agriculture. But what we can do for farmers is that, number one, we pay a premium for the yellow peas that we're going to buy from them. And that premium is for traceability and it's for sustainability reporting. But what we can do for farmers is at the end of every grow season, we can show them for the 50 farmers that we sourced our peas from, how they measured in a nice histogram, dashboard style reporting back to the farmer. How much fuel did you use? How much fertilizer did you use? How much water did you use? And they can know right off the bat if they're first quartile, third quartile, and how they can be more sustainable on that farm. And it's not just about their sustainability, it's about their profit margin as well. It's a very collaborative approach with the farming community. I'd like to talk about the players, the consortium that we brought together to build this. At Phyto, our teams worked for the past 15 months diligencing process technology, scope and design, sustainability investments, and project execution. And with that, we've brought together 3 industry-leading players. Cicadania AS from Copenhagen is a world-class protein fractionation and technology company. We've been working with Cicadania for the better part of 9 months now. And bringing that together with Bird Construction and GHD Engineering. When you look at the collaboration between these companies, Bird and GHD, they're in the food processing industry from a project execution standpoint and have been hands-on on the design build of this project. And really what we're doing is we've got an integrated design for how we're going to process these peas into protein and the co-products, and we'll 3D connect them with Bird and GHD and have that level of project readiness when we hit the ground running. So what we put together is really a unique process and emissions standard, and a very key Alberta ministry has labeled our company in this project the standard for ESG in agriculture in Alberta, and we're very proud of that, and that's what we're bringing to the town there. What's really important about that is that, you know, the world is moving to eco-labeling, and people want to know how their food was processed. And having the pedigree that this facility will be in terms of net zero and its water efficiency will allow us to label our product sustainably processed food. And for those consumer packaged goods companies that use our goods, they can take that labeling right to the store shelf. This is very front edge, and it's happening right here in Strathmore. So why are we different? You know, to date, the plant protein industry, it really has 2 goals when you're making protein isolate and byproducts. There's a functionality component, and there's the sensory component. And functionality deals with things like emulsification, the solubility, the gelability, how that protein isolate formulates into food applications. And you can see a lot of those on the screens around you. That's part 1. Part 2 is the sensory, and sensory is a bit of an issue in the yellow pea market. You've got bitter taste, you've got an off odor, and you've got color, and most of what's on the market is yellow. And we've had independent industry reports, we've had the Canadian University Food Science Labs, and importantly, the consumer packaged goods companies that are going to buy this product all come back and tell us, you guys are unique because you put both together. And that's really what we're going to do for this industry is bring that unique technology into commercialization. So we deliver both, and we're going to market that product under the brand Phyto Optimate. And Phyto Optimate is really about this multi-phase extraction of all the protein in a pea, all those byproducts. It's a human consumable starch, it's human consumable fiber. We've been taking that pea hull and then milling it and grinding it, pasteurizing it for a pea hull fiber. And what we're doing is we're maximizing the value of every yellow pea. And it doesn't take much to get you to $120 million a year of contribution to this economy. It's really differentiating. And I will say, there are samples on the table, and you feel free to come up and have a look at this sample. And that is what is unique about what we're going to bring to the market. When you look at the color of this, you've got, I think, a very mature alternative meat market. And where the real high growth is in the alternative white meat market, being fish and chicken, and the alternative dairy market. And it's real tough to put a yellow protein isolate in any of that product, and that's what's unique here. Our ESG pedigree is derived from our corporate values of health, wellness, and sustainability. Our net zero pedigree, it will set the standard for sustainable food processing in North America, and Phyto Organix is proud to lead that charge. Our timeline, you know, we've just executed a deal with the Western Irrigation District. They've been great partners to work with, and we look forward to further working with them. The next few months will see us subdivide the land, go through zoning and permitting, and our objective here is to break ground in the fall of this year, and approximately a 20 to 22 month build puts us in first commercial production in the middle of 2024. In closing, I'd like to thank Minister Horner and his staff. I can't tell you the contribution that they've made in terms of the early days. We started at 8 municipalities in Alberta, and we dialed into this one. And the collaboration with the ministry has been outstanding. I'd also like to thank Brad Fournier at Invest Alberta. Our province is really working to make business work, and what Invest Alberta has done for us in terms of opening networks for investors, but also opening networks through the Canadian consulates for consumer offtake in places like China and South Korea and Japan. And every time we have a call with one, it opens the door to another. And that's been fantastic, so thank you. And Mayor Fuel and Council, Kevin Scoble, have been great to work with. And we very much look forward to being a corporate citizen in Strathmore. We are a corporate leader. And I think it's very appreciative that you share those same sustainability values, and it's great alignment with the community. And lastly, I just want to thank Chief Crowfoot, fresh out of jet lag. I think there's a lot of opportunity to work together with the Blackfoot people, and we're excited to continue those talks with them. And last but not least is the Phyto Organix team. Most are here today. It's been 15 months of working and progressing to get this project to where we're at today. And we're about that far away from hitting the ground running and get going.
I think it's very exciting. $225 million wet fractionation plant here in Strathmore. Something that's been talked about for a long time, and it's nice to see it landing in the province, but also right here in Strathmore. So very exciting.